The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments today for the case of Lorie Smith, a Christian web designer compelled, much like the Bakers, compelled by her home state of Colorado to design web pages celebrating same-sex marriages. That's a clear violation of both her freedom of speech and her religious liberty. Now, it's fitting that the oral arguments in this case, known as 303 Creative LLC, took place almost the same day when the House of Representatives is widely expected to pass a bill codifying the court's 2015 decision redefining marriage into federal law. Now, the left is working to silence or even drive out businesses, Christians, who cannot and will not leave their religious faith at the door of their vocation. And here, as Christians in America, that have a First Amendment freedom, and that First Amendment freedom is not about where you go to church or if you go to church. It's about the ability to live your life according to your faith. We've talked about that so many times. And in America, we should not be forced to we should not be forced to choose whether we're going to honor God or obey government. Government should be in alignment with the truth of God. And that's not the case in America today. Joining now to discuss this case is Jake Warner. He is the senior counsel at Alliance Defending Freedom, which, as I mentioned earlier, represented Lorie Smith at the Supreme Court today. Jake, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, tell us how you think things went today. Kristen Wagner argued the case. I listened to it, thought she did a great job. What is the sense of how things were lining up for Lorie and the team today?
It was a great day in court today. Kristen did fabulous. And to give some context about what's going on here, Lorie Smith owns 303 Creative. She's a website designer. She wants to create custom websites celebrating God's design for marriage between a man and a woman. But Colorado says she's not welcome in that space. And Colorado would compel her to create custom art and websites promoting views of marriage that go against her beliefs. And that's exactly what the state of Colorado told the Supreme Court today. Colorado asserted the power that it could compel newspapers, that it could compel publishers, that it could compel Lorie Smith to write the words, "God bless this marriage," on a custom website celebrating a view of marriage that goes against her faith. And I think a majority of the court understood that there's a big problem going on here. A majority of the court understood that everything that Lorie creates is speech. The state of Colorado has conceded this. Every website that Lorie creates is speech. And under the state's theory, Colorado would compel Lorie to promote messages that go against her deepest beliefs. And that's wrong. Free speech is for everyone. Yeah. The First Amendment protects the right of every American to say what they believe without fear of government punishment.
Well, the court should certainly know that there's a problem because they created it in part. I want to play a clip of Justice Gorsuch talking to Kristen Wagner, actually asking her a question as she was presenting her oral arguments. Clip number 9, please.
The objections to compelled speech here on religious grounds could include, in fact, do include some objections with respect to certain heterosexual marriages, that there are certain heterosexual unions that your client would not speak toward either. Is that correct?
Certainly, and that's in the stipulated facts in terms of she declines messages based on the message, and she has declined other projects based on the message that have nothing to do with same-sex marriage.
So the question isn't who, it's what?
Always.
I mean, we've seen this before with the Bakers that ADF has represented, that this is an issue of not individuals, not denying people service, but certain activities that they do not want to be forced to participate in.
Yeah, like Jack Phillips, who came before Lorie Smith. Lorie serves everyone. She just can't express every message. The First Amendment protects people like Lorie and Jack. Colorado would look past that. Colorado would compel any artist to promote messages that go against their deepest beliefs, no matter who they serve. But for people like Lorie and Jack, it's always about what they're asked to promote. It's never about who's requesting.
But, there are, in a civil society, we understand that there are differences. And so we don't usually force people to do things that they don't want to do. And so this really is being brought about with Jack Phillips, who has been hounded time after time. This is about the intolerance of those on the left who want to force people to engage in something that morally, religiously, they just simply cannot do.
Certainly, over the past 10 years, what we've seen are activists and government officials trying to punish people simply because they disagree with their beliefs. And the First Amendment forbids this. And it's a good thing, because a win for Lorie and Jack would be a win for all Americans. We don't think the government should force an LGBT website designer to create custom websites celebrating a view of marriage that goes against their beliefs. Free speech is truly for everyone, no matter what your viewpoint is on life's biggest issues.
You know what? And we understand that and embrace that, but only probably about half of us. Those on the left just don't seem to see it the same way. Well, I was encouraged by what I heard and saw, and so we will be prayerful that we'll see a positive outcome in this.
We have a lot to be hopeful for.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.